earliest known United States shooting to happen on school property was the Pontiac Rebellion school massacre on July 26, 1764. The first known mass shooting in the U.S. where students were shot was on April 19, 1891, when 70-year-old James Foster fired a shotgun at a group of students in the playground of St. Mary's Parochial School. The most deadliest shooting that has ever happened was in Parkland, Florida, at the high school of Marjorie Stone Douglas High, where 17 kids and staff members were killed.
Welcome to Squawk Talk. Today our topic is school safety, and we brought you 3 staff members who are on the front line of school safety at Olathe North. Mr. Jason Herman, the principal, Officer Reed, the police officer and SRO, and DeMarcus Howell, ON security guard. So, what is your opinion on the current state of school safety concerning shooters and other types of intruders?
I'll go ahead and get started. I think across the nation, everybody it's definitely a topic that we're all dealing with. And school safety and security is, as far as me as the principal at Olathe North, is the #1 priority for all of our staff and students. I'm very happy with what Olathe does for security with our door system, our video system, with the SRO on staff full time with our security, and then also the measure and protocols that we put in place in case there were a situation of an active shooter. We could do a better job with training, I think, for students and staff, but ultimately I'm very, very happy with what we do here at Olathe when we deal in the Olathe School District when there could be a situation like that occur.
Yeah, I think I've been to other schools, districts and everything, and what they do here, I think, is definitely some good stuff. Having someone always out in the parking lot, making sure, there's nothing weird going on outside, me just walking around, making sure everything is nice on the inside, and obviously, our enforcement officer Reed. I think that's definitely, three good things, and like the lock system, you pretty much can't get in the school except a couple places, and you have to go through ID and everything, and there's personnel there. Pretty much at 8 o'clock, it's pretty much locked up. So I think this place is pretty good.
Just to echo what Mr. Herman and DeMarcus said, it is definitely a hot topic, something that we talk about often in our meetings with school resource officers and at the department, how we can make it safer for our students here. And then just learning from things that have happened in the past. So those are some of the things that we talk about often in our meetings. So it's definitely something that I believe here in North and in the Olathe School District that we're taking pretty serious.
Going back on what you said, what is the protocol in the case of a threat? So basically, we have what we call the ALICE protocol, and many of our students, all of our students, went through the ALICE training first semester right before we went on Christmas break.
Shooting, the Olathe School District is supposed to go off the ALICE protocol: alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate. And if you happen to be in the hallway or a bathroom during a school shooting, you should find the closest exit and evacuate the building. If you cannot run out the building, find a safe place to lock down or barricade. Will you get in trouble for leaving the building? Absolutely not. With this new protocol, you are supposed to leave the building quickly as you can and try to get away. Do we all have to evacuate to the same place? No. Your class or schools may talk about ideas for places to run to, but the most important thing is to go as quickly and as fast as you can. How will your parents find you? The district will come get information to your parents on where they can come and pick you up. This will not be at our school. And if you're a high school student, can you jump in your car and evacuate? Absolutely not. That would block safety personnel from getting to the building.
It was an advisory where all of the students worked, but basically in that case there would be a call that's going to be made for staff and students, and in that case, guys, we're either locked down or we're getting out of the building, and that depends on where the intruder would be, where the active shooter would be. Obviously in that case, Officer Reed's responsibility is to go to the imminent threat. The rest of us is locked down and secure, or get out of the building and get away from the building. And one of those questions is always, well, where do we go when we go out? We do not go to our cars. We make sure that we are leaving campus on foot. So do we go to Mahaffey Farmstead, or do we go to Mahaffey Elementary, or do we go to the Johnson County Sheriff Office? You know, there isn't. If there's an active shooter in our building, by the time that occurs, there's going to be so much people around Olathe North when it comes to first responders. All of our students are going to be found and collected, you know, and be safe. So there isn't an exact location that we tell anyone to go, because again, another imminent threat in that situation is if everyone knew exactly where we were going, why wouldn't you put an active shooter there waiting? So that's kind of some of those reasons. But the protocol is called Alice, and we definitely train that. And we are creating, as a matter of fact, Mr. Lane and I are creating some more video. We're going to use staff. We're going to use Olathe North faculty to actually run through some of that protocol so that we can share it with our students as the year moves on.
That's how it's going to play out. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be changing fast, and it's never going to be the same. So I think that's something to keep in mind. Had a lot of questions come up after we did some training with staff. Should I confront the shooter? And I would say that only if you're cornered. You shouldn't actively go out and try to confront the shooter. That's my job, as Mr. Herman said. But it's just important to keep in mind that there's a million scenarios that could happen. There's impossible. As I shared with staff in the training, just kind of have a basic plan of what you would do if something would happen, and just know that it's going to change.
And like I think really like what Mr. Herman said, that we're having common, you know, knowledge, common terms, and I think that's definitely going to help us. You know, like if we know, like he was saying, if everybody should know what the blue room is, everyone should know what the commons are, and so I think having those terms and having that collective conversation is also going to help us a lot too.
So, and it was because people were all taught back then to just lock down in classrooms. Well, now if you have an active shooter walking through the hallway and they can get into your classroom, you know, you're literally a sitting duck. So in that case, that's why the get out of the building if you're in the specific location that you feel like you can get out safely. So that's kind of where that piece came. You know, one of the things that's really important, and I want DeMarcus to speak to this, definitely want Officer Reed to speak to this, is that it's important for our students to realize that's probably the biggest issues that we deal with when it comes to school safety are going to be the moments of, I know this person, I'm going to push this door open and let them in.
Yeah.
Eagle halftime are times when you're walking in passing period. Somebody's going to run to McDonald's and they send you a text, hey, I'm at the 900 South doors, can you come let me in? Guys, those are going to be when a situation is going to occur that we're going to have excuse me, a major security issue. Because sometimes, though we know what those kids are or know who those people are, we don't know what the reason is why they were out of the building or why they're coming back in and not using an appropriate entrance.
Right.
And so for us, that safety and security piece of allowing students in and opening doors, especially kids that aren't North students, but particularly kids who are, we do not want to allow those kids to come in those other entrances.
Yeah, I get a lot of kids who tell me that there are kids who try to come through and they feel awkward, you know, telling them to have to go to the other places. But honestly, it's there for a reason, because we need to be able to know who's coming in and out of these doors. So unfortunately, if it's your friend, if it's your, you know, someone you know, they got to go through the proper channels. We need to know who's coming in, who's coming out, and I'm really proud of a lot of the kids that don't just let the people in, but I know there is, but that's definitely an issue, and there's a reason why these doors are locked at these certain times. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, yes, these protocols are in place for a reason, to keep us safe, and then, you know, obviously we don't want people coming and going. As a part of our job, Mr. Herman's, mine, DeMarcus, is why you're here to keep you safe, and that entails making sure we have the right people in school and making sure that we don't let the wrong people inside of school. So definitely that is an issue that I think that DeMarcus is doing a pretty good job with, is keeping people from coming in and going when they're not supposed to.
What are your plans for the upcoming student walkout, April 20th?
So I've been meeting with some student leaders who've come in, and we are processing exactly logistics of what they'd look like. I have another meeting, as a matter of fact, tomorrow. We, as Olathe North, we support the students' rights. It will be student-led. This is not coming from me. I'm not sending announcements. I'm not posting, things on my blog. This is a student-led demonstration, and again, what the students' beliefs are, if it's gun rights or if it's the right to bear arms or whatever it may be that they're protesting in that moment. At this point, we feel that it would be best to live in the 17 minutes to honor the students and staff that were killed in Parkland, Florida, and then again return to the school day. What we're asking and what we're going to do during Eagle Halftime that day is we're going to have different booths. We're working with a voter registration group. We're working with folks that are dealing with gun rights and gun control. We also want to talk about what are the things that lead to these shooters and these school shootings. Is it bullying? Is it social isolation? Is it depression? Mental health? So we want to share all the information we can so that we can be proactive. What can we do to support all of our students and all of our staff and our community in Olathe so that we don't have a tragedy like that take place in the area? But we are definitely I'm supporting it. I want to make this very clear. If you walk out with the students on a student protest, you will have an absence. It will be excused until we return back to class, and then from then on we'll continue with our traditional day. But again, I want to make sure that everyone knows that we're going to support the students. We want you guys to be active in your politics in what's going on in your life, but at the same time, we also have our job again, school security and safety, and your education. So we also have to make sure that those things coexist.
Piggybacking off the right to bear arms, how do you feel about arming administration and/or teachers?
Personally, I don't know, man. That sounds to me like a reaction to a problem and not a solution. And to me, it just kind of.
I mean, for me, I think personally, I don't think it's a good idea. I think the teachers already have their plate full with what they have currently, and to add the stress of, am I going to have to use this firearm in my classroom, is just another stress they shouldn't have to worry about. And there is a lot of training that goes into using a firearm, when to use a firearm, and I'm not sure if a lot of our teachers have ever even touched a firearm. So to say, here's a gun, that's not their job. I think that, we as a police department, government, whatever, we can do a better job of protecting our students, but that shouldn't be the teacher's responsibility to bear arms in their classroom. So
I'm certainly concerned that it could cause more school shootings. And my purpose behind that would be those accidental moments at a school, if a student were to get their hand on a gun, or if there was a situation where a staff member is breaking up, maybe a fight between students, and you know what I mean? That is concerning. I personally, I'm not against carrying a weapon, but I personally don't think it's the right thing to do for all of our staff to have to conceal and carry. Mm-hmm. And that is not going to, I don't think that would make our students feel safer in a classroom. As a matter of fact, I think it might actually raise that anxiety level a little higher. So it's a very interesting topic. I'm very curious to see. I've been reading a lot of things in KSDE, which is the Kansas Education State Department, and I've also been curious watching national news about the conversation, because it is happening in some school districts already across our country, really? But it's not happening here. So,
well, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure to discuss this with you, and stay safe.